Hey everyone, thanks again for joining in. This will be another one on the AnchorMake M5C. Tonight I'm going to be talking about supports and Z-Lift. I apologize about the background noise. I am currently printing things as we go. So for this purpose of the test, I have three of the same objects actually, but they are going to be very different when it comes to support settings. This will be Object 1, Object 2, and Object 3. Hopefully by the end of this video, you guys will have a better determination and understanding of what you should be looking for when it comes to this supports. So Object 1, I did standard grid fill here. You'll see everything is exactly what it was set to be for standard settings here. Object 2 here is going to be the same thing, except what I did was change it to organic supports. Now, Object 3 is my custom settings for organic supports here. So what I do is I add 2 enforcement layers on the first layer, and then I also do first layer expansion by 3 millimeters. I've come to find that that helps hold it in place no matter what you're doing. I don't use rafts. I prefer organic. I do not use snug. I never have. I don't think I ever will. I've tried it a few times and it's never really worked the way I wanted it to. Keep it as detachable, same as top. I changed the pattern to honeycomb. I wrap sheath around the support, gives it a little extra draft protection depending on your room. I personally prefer it just to avoid any sort of problems. Your pattern spacing, your pattern angles, closing radius is all the same. Top interface layers, I change from off to default, and then interface patterns, I change it from rectangular to default. And then I also add interface loops and support from build plate only. Those are the main changes I do, and I will show you what each one of those look like from here. So your standard grid support will infill every piece around it, no matter what, including the base here. It'll build up on top of that. Now, if you look at this one over here, number 2, you'll notice that it's got an extra branch here, and you'll notice that it goes straight up versus mine, which creates a less material, but it also has the support interface, which this does not have. It builds them directly on top of the branches themselves, which I will demonstrate here in just a moment for you what that looks like. You'll also see the base. The base down here is whatever the layer height is, which mine is set for 0.2 with an elephant foot compensation of 0.03. This expands it out here by 3 millimeters, which acts as kind of a raft. It gives it more of a focus point on the build plate to help keep things together. So if we take this and scroll down to each layer by layer, and we get to here, you will see how here, where it connects at the top part of the support on this guy over here, you will see that there's nothing here. So any of these longer overhangs in this position aren't going to be as good. And its connection points always seemed a little weak to me. But if you do a support layer of interface loops, it connects 100% of the grid on both sides. So you get more connection points, which make it easier and more stable to deal with. And you will also notice on mine, the branch angles aren't near as hard. So if you look down here and all around this, you'll see that all my branches stay in relatively straight. But if you look over here closely, you can see where there's a gap in between certain lines, which could compromise the structural integrity of your print. As you can see, there's a gap line there on these ones, which is one of my big problems with keeping it as standard default. Now, something to consider that goes along with this is when you're printing, you need to come into filament overrides here. Your lift Z, I keep mine at 0.5. It's going to lift it a half a millimeter up after every layer so it doesn't accidentally run into anything or crash into any objects, which is a pretty known issue that's been well documented with not only AnchorMake but other printers, where it doesn't create enough space and just runs into the object, which is usually the support. I only lift my Z if the object is bigger than 5 millimeters in height. So if it's 4.5 millimeters, it doesn't jump. If it's 5 millimeters, that's when it starts jumping. And with that being said, you're going to need to adjust your retraction speed. They have it set for, I believe, 40. You are going to want to bump it up a little bit to get the retraction speed faster so you have less stringing to deal with overall. Now, at the end of this video, I will have the objects marked with their numbers and multiple picture angles to show problems there. Once I figure out how to do different videos with different objects and have a better, video recorder besides my phone, I will be able to do those live stream with you guys too, so you guys can see the full effect. I'm hoping the pictures will do, and if they don't, let me know. I will work on getting it set up so I can do it the right way and get everything done the correct way. This is just a nice trial for me. I'm planning on trying to do at least 2 to 3 videos a week on this. Next week, maybe even later this week, I will tackle quality, and we will go over that versus what the standard settings are. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. If you'd like to see certain subjects tackled first, let me know, and I will do my best to get it taken care of. Have a good night, everybody.